This video dated February 28, 2014 is the second video in the series of Smotco help videos. This video is going to demonstrate the company information. If you watched the first video, we got you up and running, got you creating your first invoice as quickly as possible so you could start using the Smotco website. We want to go back now and start filling in the details. You want your invoices to be more complete, the system to work better if it has all of your information. So let's go ahead and start by logging into the demo account. We're going to use the demo account from now on for these videos. Let's go over here to the company information. Let's start with the main page, company info. Just click right there. Now at the top you'll have your basic company information. Let's go ahead and click edit. So you have your name, address, city, state, your website. This will print out on your invoices if you have that filled out. Email address is required. You can put in up to 3 phone numbers as well as a separate fax number. Let's just go ahead and make up a fax number. Pricing matrix, we'll get into it at a later date, but if you want to assign a matrix company-wide, you would just do that right here. Tax info. If you have just a straight sales tax or labor tax, you can just put that number right in here. If you have a more complex pricing, tax pricing structure, you can use the additional charges. It allows you to create categories and different rates for different things, and we'll get into that a little later on as well. But just keep in mind that there is a more complex way to create a taxing structure if you don't just have a straightforward percentage of parts and labor. This is just to maintain your records, your tax ID numbers, your company note. You can just keep any kind of note in here that you want. It's really just for your use if there's something you want to keep track of. Settings. Your appointment schedule, you set your minimum or your maximum hours here, and on your schedule to show you by turning orange. Let's just set this at 10 for now, and when we get to the appointment video, we'll demonstrate how that works. This service interval, mile, and day. The Smotco website creates service reminders, both email and snail mail. Now at this point we're not using the mileage, we're just using the days. And this is the default, meaning every new vehicle that's added, this is the default setting. So every, looks like basically 6 months, the vehicles will get reminders. Now each vehicle can be overridden and have its own service interval day set. This is just the default that's entered automatically when a vehicle is created. This is your logo, which will print out on your invoices and estimates, and you can upload your own. Click here, choose your file, and you can put your own logo in there, or you could get rid of your logo by clicking clear, and then you would save that. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel out of there. Well, let's just click save just to make the tutorial complete. So we saved all that information. So that's the basic company information. Now if you want to track your employees, you can add employees down here. You would just click new employee, enter their information. If you have them set up as a user, you can put their username in here to track that. You may have some employees that use the system and some that don't, but this allows you to track all your employees, and it also allows you to have separate users, but you can also tie them together here. You can select whether they're a technician or not. Looks like somebody added another position, which you can do down here, and they spelt it differently. And then you would click OK to save that. If you wanted to edit one of your employees, click edit, same thing, update all the information, click OK. Down here you can create positions. Maybe you want to create a service manager. Click OK. So let's go back over here, edit this employee, and maybe he's a service manager, not a technician. Or maybe he's both. You can track them both. Click OK. So Daniel's now a service manager and a technician. Only technicians can be added to invoices for labor. So if you're going to be using your employee as a technician on an invoice, you need to make sure that they are selected as a technician. Now you'll see you cannot edit this. This is a system record, and that's how the system knows that they're a technician and whether to be able to add them to invoices or not. Documents. Here you can store documents related to your company. If you want to store pictures, invoices, technical service bulletins, anything that's related to the company, you can store that here. Under each vehicle, you can also store documents related to that particular vehicle, and they stay with that vehicle. You can store DTC printouts, images of damage. Here it looks like we have a sway bar bracket image. So it's just for demo purposes, but you can see the damaged sway bar bracket. You can store pictures like this with the vehicle information. Here we have DTC printout. So you can store documents. Again, these are more vehicle documents here, even though this is the space for storing company-related documents. Receivables. This gives us a list of all the money it's owed to us. We can make payments from here, or we could jump over to this customer. Contacts. Now, if you want to use a contact on a purchase order, they do need to be set up as a supplier. If they're not a supplier, they're not going to be available to you when you create purchase orders. Again, new contact. Fill out the information. OK. Edit. Select the contact. Edit. Click OK to save it. Additional charges. This is where we can create things like unique taxing structures or shop supply fees or hazardous waste fees. Let's go ahead and just set up a couple just to show you real quick. New. Let's call this a state tax. Let's say your state taxes all parts at 10%. So we're going to multiply all parts by 0.1 from 0 to 100,000. That way we catch all the parts in there. Or maybe let's make this 1,000. And let's say there's a state tax on parts from $1,001 to 100,000. That is 5%. So all parts times 0.05. So that'll give us 5% on all our parts above 1,000 and a 10% tax on all our parts from 0 to 1,000. Click OK. So now we have some more complex taxing structure set up there. You could add a federal tax. You could add a different tax on parts. Let's go ahead and create a new shop supplies. And we'll just do this on everything, all parts and labor. Let's do times, and let's do a 3% from 0. Let's just say 1,500. So now we have 3 additional charges. 2 are a more complex taxing structure. 1 is for shop supplies. These will automatically be added to each invoice. However, they can be overridden on each individual invoice. Saved instructions. You saw in the first video how you entered an issue or instructions and that created a job. Well, let's say you're doing the same thing over and over again and you want to eliminate having to type check for service or check breaks on every invoice. So you can go ahead and click New. If you want to categorize it, you can. Let's just go ahead and let's see if there's a service. Maintenance and service. Check for service. Now, so this add to all, if I select that, this instruction will be added to every new work request that's created. Show detail will show this information on the printouts. Leaving it unclicked will hide the detail. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's create a new one. Select the first one there. Let's go ahead and add to all. Now this one is show detail. Maybe on there you want to put so there's a place to make some notes about the breaks, so click OK. I'm going to go over here to this other window. To demonstrate, we'll create a new work request. Just pick the first customer there, the first vehicle. Click OK. We'll open up that invoice. And you'll see that those two jobs were automatically added because we told it to add to all new. Let's go ahead and move this check breaks over to recommendations. And then we're going to print out an invoice. I want to demonstrate what that show detail means. So under recommendations, you'll see the check breaks recommendation now actually shows the details for that recommendation. You can see these other recommendations does not show the detail. The reason for this is if a customer has a lot of recommendations on their vehicle plus a lot of descriptions as to what needs to be done, it's going to take up a lot of paper. This allows you to condense it down to a single line, which essentially is the date and the issue and the price, where if you show the detail, it's going to show all the notes, the description of the job. Let's go ahead and go back over here to save instructions. If we want to edit them, we can edit it. We can undo show detail, undo add to all, so it will stop adding that to all the invoices. Let's just leave all that alone. Let's go over to the next tab. And the way to switch locations would be from the home screen, drop down to the more, switch locations, select the location you want to work with, and that will then give you all the information. You'll see the invoices from that location, the parts information from that location. So let's go back up here to company information. Let's look at users and roles. Here's where you add your users. If you want other employees in your company to be able to log on under their own username, you can create a new user, put in their username, password. Just click on new user. Again, the username, password. Roles. Administrators have access to everything. Power users have access to everything, plus the marketing and reports. And the users don't have any access to the company information or the reports. You can play around with that, switch, create an account, switch users, roles. And here are the roles. You can select a role and see who is in that role. Go to the next tab, pricing matrix. We've talked about this. This allows you to create a different pricing structure for down to every vehicle. You could create a different pricing structure for your company, for your location, for the vehicle, for the customer. Each of them having a different pricing structure. And you create the pricing matrix here. And let's just say test pricing matrix. Click OK. And now we're going to create a new item, and we're going to say that the cost of the parts from 0 to 1,000, we're going to multiply it by 2. So we're going to double the price of all the parts. From 0 to 1,000, it's their cost. So let's go back over here to an invoice. Let's go to this vehicle info here. Let's edit this vehicle. Let's go down here to the pricing matrix, and we're going to apply that pricing matrix that we just created. So now when we enter a part into this invoice, it should double the cost. So let's add a part. Let's set the part cost at 100, and you can see it calculated out to $200. You can also set the pricing matrix on the customer level. Right down. You can also set the pricing matrix on the company level. You can also set it on a location level if you have another location. So it gives you a lot of flexibility when it comes to pricing. I set up very basically cost from this amount to this amount, but you can create as many as you want on as many different fields. Well, cost or list price, the from amounts, the math, the amount. So you can pretty much limitless the pricing matrix that you can set up. Let's go ahead here to print options. I went over this briefly in the quick start tutorial. Currently, these are the items that you can print out. You can print out a work request, an estimate, a work order, an invoice, a purchase order, and so on. There's different layouts and different print formats. Let's go to an invoice because currently that's the one that has the most options. Currently we're using the original invoice in the PDF format. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. The original invoice has this dark background. We use a laser printer. I find this creates a nice contrast for a laser printer. A lot of users have inkjets, and this uses up a lot of inks. So there's some other options. We can go down here and get the original, but with the ink saver option. We'll go to select format, and again we'll stick with the PDF. You have the option of an Excel, image, or Word. Maybe you want to edit it a little bit before you print it for the customer. You can print it out in Word, and you can do that. So PDF, okay. We'll go back over here, and we'll print that invoice. And you can see now it doesn't have that dark background anymore. You'll see that the company logo is up here in the corner of the invoice. You'll see the additional charges show up here. If you watch the original video, you'll see that payments show up here if you have them applied to this invoice. Let's go ahead and close that. Go back over here to print options. Purchase orders. Currently there's only one option available, or one layout available. You can always select different formats. returns, communications. Again, currently there's only one format available, or one option available. Again, all the formats. You can also print in different formats the invoices right from here. Maybe you generally print in PDF, but you have one that you want to print as an estimate. You can just go ahead and do a Word invoice here. And there you go. There's the invoice in Word without having to go and change your layout or format. Let's go back up here to email history. Whenever you send out an email to a customer, it's saved. Just for your records, there's not much you can do with it from here other than just view it to see what you sent. Email subjects. Whenever you send out an email, you have the option of clicking and using a saved subject rather than entering a new one every time. And here's where you can add, edit, and delete those. Same with the messages. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quickly. Let's say you want to email this estimate to a customer. If you want to preview it real quickly just to make sure you're sending the right thing, click on there. And there it is. Everything looks good, so we can go ahead and send it. If this customer had an email address, it would be filled in here automatically. Your company email address will be put in here automatically. And here's the save subjects that I was just showing you. You can grab that and save messages. You can grab that. So you don't have to fill these out every time you want to send out an estimate or an invoice. If you want to send a copy of this to yourself, you can just click there. And that'll send a copy to your address as well. So let's go back over here to miscellaneous. And you have your email subjects and messages again. Your invoice notes saved. You can save notes and add those to the invoice just like you did the subjects and messages. And same with the estimates. And again, you can set them as the default, meaning it'll be added to every estimate and every invoice for an invoice note. So let's go back over here a second. Under notes, you'll see that these notes were added automatically when this invoice was created. We didn't have to do anything because it was selected as the defaults. So if we want to edit one of these notes, we can just click edit, and we can just type something right in here if we want, or we can go to the save notes, select one, and you can see that it automatically puts those save notes right into there. And if we want to save that, we just click OK, just cancel out of there. Go back over here. And the last thing here within your company is export. You can export your customers, your vehicles, your parts, your part information by the locations, and your history. Let's just go ahead and take a look at customers. So this is all your customers. If you want to export them, you just go here to Actions. You can download them to a spreadsheet, to a CSV format. Let's go ahead and click Download. Open that up. And there you have all your customers. If you want to import them into another program, or you want to create a mailing list on your own, maybe you want to send out cards, you can create your own labels from that information. Let's close that. Let's go to Vehicles. Again, all your vehicles. Your parts, again, you just go here to Action, Download. You can also export them to a PDF document, a spreadsheet, a Word document. So there's a few options there. That concludes the video on the company information and everything that has to do with the company. If you have any questions, please email us. Just use the contact link down here to send us an email, or you can email us at info@smotgo.com. I believe we've covered everything under the company information and everything that has to do with the company itself. The next video, we're going to take a look at everything that has to do with the customer. So that concludes this tutorial on the company information.